Thanks a lot, Pete. Welcome, everyone. Good morning on a rainy mid-morning here on Thursday. I have the privilege to have Holly Hartel join me here on the stage, and we are going to have a very engaging, interesting fireside chat in a few minutes. But before that, let's talk a little bit about generative AI apps, or AI apps as it's all the buzz these days everywhere. And you can see that the conversational assistants are helping governments reinvent a lot of what they do in terms of providing services to citizens, right? You have seen some examples of these in action. New York City came up with a very famous and popular My City chatbot, and the mayor of New York City was going gaga over that. But other local governments are also coming up with similar applications. Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services launching a bot for all the beneficiaries in the locality, whether that's for SNAP, child support, disability. So these AI apps are everywhere now. So we are going to talk today about some of the trends in AI policy, what's going on in terms of generative AI. What are some of the AI capabilities that are helping state and local governments and also education build these AI apps that are helping citizens for citizen services? What are some of the opportunities that we have in front of you, especially for state and local governments? So behind all the media attention that you're seeing today, as far as Gen AI is concerned, or artificial intelligence in general is concerned, there are some real trends. That interest is really pent up. What you're seeing with AI is really because there was a lot of pent up demand that now it seems like AI will be able to address and solve. You can see in these numbers how citizens are looking for more. They are crying for more. Right? And governments, state and local governments especially, always strapped for resources, funding, revenue. They are looking for always looking for help to do more for the citizens. And these are some of the emerging themes: increasing transparency, optimizing services, improving the services for experience for public citizen services. How can state and local governments do more in these areas? So a lot of action we are seeing in the state and local government front. Cities, they're coming up with action plans. They're coming up with new initiatives to take advantage of the capabilities that AI provides now. Also at the state level, they're coming up with executive orders, setting up the policies, setting up the guidelines as to how AI is really going to be at the forefront for the jurisdiction. And so that's all good, but what generative AI really is and how it really helps state and local governments. When you think about AI and you start peeling the onion, layers of the onion a little bit, if you go back to, I would say, 15 years ago, when the recent wave or the last wave of AI started, which is what we now call classical AI, this was really a model for the task approach. You essentially created a model that was only suitable for a particular task. As you can see here, if you want to detect spam, you will create a model and that will do just that. If you want to create a model that will detect entity, you will train a model and it will do just that, right? It was all well and good, but it was hard, laborious, time consuming, and it required a big team of data scientists, mathematics PhDs, and took a lot of time and effort. In came generative AI. And the generative AI essentially turned this on its head. And essentially what happened was now we have a basic model, a foundational model that you can apply on a variety of tasks. It can flexibly be applied on a number of tasks. Those tasks could be question and answer, classification, summarization, right? And the generative AI models are able to do that because they are trained, or they are made to learn the same way humans learn a little bit. If you take how we learn anything in our life, we go to elementary school, then we go to middle school, then we go to high school, then we go to college. And as we progress through that, we are learning more and more stuff. Once we graduate from college, then we can specialize. We can go to any industry and we can specialize. We can apply our skills that we have learned as a journalist, as an editor, as an author, right? And generative AI models work the same way. They are built as a foundational model, and then they can be applied in a number of scenarios. And these can be applied in a number of scenarios for state and local government: content generation, summarization, semantic search, code generation. A lot of our state and local governments are sitting on legacy applications that people have forgotten what the code was written and how it was written, what it does. And it can not just do code generation, but also transitioning from legacy to newer languages. Also, generative AI has a low barrier to entry. And this is a 3-horizon model from McKinsey. As you can see here, state and local governments can actually start at a very lower baseline level and then progressively go up as they go into their generative AI journey. Start by developing policy fundamentals and investing in entry-level AI use cases, and then progress from there. And we will see an example of that today. So these generative AI bots or conversational assistants, these new breed of AI apps, they are a big advance over traditional bots. Traditional bots were very rudimentary, and they followed a certain pattern. They followed a certain flow. If you're not going to use that bot for that particular purpose, they are not going to be helpful that much. These new generation of AI bots, they use this new set of models called embedding models to use this concept called semantic search. And that really gives them the power that they have. Let's see some of that in action. So when a user asks a question like this to the bot is able to understand what the user is asking about, irrespective of whether user is particularly using that keyword that is going to result in a result or not, right? If you remember, internet searches, they have always been like that. If you ask for something to any internet search engine, if you have a particular keyword in your question, it's going to give you the answer, right? And the bots also work the same way, but not anymore. With this semantic search capability, what happens is we have the capability for us to compare what human is asking to the answers that we have that we can potentially give to humans at a mathematical representation level. They are also called embeddings in a technical jargon, if I want to throw it out there. And we compare these embedding or mathematical representations. So essentially what happens is we are able to retrieve content that is semantically similar, doesn't need to have any keywords in it. So that's why bots are able to respond irrespective of whether human is using a colloquial language, even tertiary talking about something, it's able to get the answers that user is looking for. Also, we can provide context and historical awareness of the chat that is going on. So when humans are asking questions, bot essentially knows that this is the conversation that it is part of. It doesn't need to repeat, the human doesn't need to repeat itself over and over again. So these are some of the advances that are there that make these new generation AI apps, conversational assistants, a lot more powerful than what the traditional bots of the yesteryears used to be. There are a lot of possibilities in variety of government missions where you can employ them, right? Government operations and infrastructure, inspections, those are always laborious, takes a lot of time. Contact center, think about it. Those are always looking for more help in terms of resources that are working in those contact centers, call centers where citizens are calling in for their queries and answers, social services, welfare, how to get welfare to the citizens, public finance and administration, justice and public security. There are a lot of places where we can employ this. So there are two ways it can help state and local government. One is simplify the citizen experience or citizen services. And other, empower government employees internally, because those are also strapped for time. They are looking for help as well. How you can simplify citizen experiences? Contact center support I talked about. You employ this in a contact center, and now all of a sudden you have a bot that works 24/7, doesn't take any break for coffee or restroom, doesn't sleep, doesn't ask for raise, right? And it's working. It's working all the time, right? And it can work with providing answers to all sorts of questions that contact centers handle otherwise. Licenses and permits, right? People are always looking for answers, how they can do get their licenses, they can get their permits. And essentially what happens is anytime they run into these issues, they are going to show up at the office without completely filled out forms, or they are going to call the call center and ask for question and answers. Now these bots can help them be ready before they show up at the offices. Tax assistance, same thing. Make sure that people fill out their tax forms, they respond to the tax queries without really bogged down by, okay, how do I need to achieve this? DMV assistant, same thing. You can increase productivity of all the DMV staff if all the citizens showed up at DMV offices with everything filled out the way they should be filled out, and with all the forms and documents that need to be there. Programs and rights also. When we are delivering welfare to the citizens who are most vulnerable and needy, those are the ones that need most help. And they are the ones who are not able to go on the internet, go on the website, and look for information that is really needed. So a bot, a customer service bot, AI app can really help them and get the services to the most needy. Same goes for empowering government employees. Internal operations assistant, right? And all the forms and guidelines that these government employees have to go through to understand policy, to understand how to take adjudication or decision on a particular issue, because they have to go through the entire policy first, takes a lot of their time. They are really strapped for time. Now these assistants can come to their rescue. And same goes for inspections on the other side of the spectrum, right? Not the citizens, but also the inspectors who are inspecting, doing the inspections. They can be empowered with these apps as well. So start your generative AI journey, explore AI apps, specifically the conversational assistants for your use cases in your organizations. And remember the 3 horizon plan that we looked at earlier. This can result into something like this. Horizon 1, 0 to 60 days, internal tools to empower government employees. So strive for answering a question like this. What is the process for vehicle title transfer? Next horizon, horizon 2, midterm, external tools to serve citizens. And it could be to answer a question like this. I just bought a motorcycle. How can I legally ride in this state? And then horizon 3, which is long-term, 1 to 2 years. That's where you are going to integrate it with other tools within your agency, whether your department, your locality, and enable real-time updates and actions. And question could be, can you give me an update on my business license application? With that, I'm going to thank you for sitting through the presentation. And now I'm going to switch to my fireside chat with Holly Hartel. All right, Holly, thanks. Thanks a lot for joining me for this fireside chat. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce Holly Hartel. Holly began her journey with Arlington County government in 2006. She now serves as the Assistant Chief Information Officer for Strategic Initiatives, where she aligns technology investments with the strategic direction of the county and needs of the public. So Holly, could you please start by telling us a bit about yourself, your professional journey, key milestones in your career that led to your current role, and what excites you most about working with AI?
I'm on. First of all, let me say thank you very much for having me here. I'm thrilled to be talking with everybody. And I was thrilled to hear a lot of what you just said. You're going to hear some repetitive themes as what we talk about what we're doing in Arlington County. I've been with the county for a very long time. I came in from a consulting company, so had the curiosity to learn more about, not just the business of the county, but technology. And that's where I feel like I sit right now. I focus primarily on how I connect our digital strategy with the teams within the county, as well as the direction of where the county wants to go. As we're talking right now about AI, AI is a hot topic for everybody, both in local government and outside. And how do we make sure that the desires and needs from the employees within the county to the citizens in the county understand and can connect those with the technology and where it's going right now. So making sure that storytelling aspect, and we're prioritizing what we're hearing from our community and what we're hearing from our employees, that we can connect that in with what we're investing in our skills and our technology investments, work together to give everybody what they need.
That's great, Holly. There used to be quite a buzz about this project or system called AVA in Arlington County, I think 3 or 4 years ago. Did Arlington County's foray into AI really started with AVA? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It absolutely did. So 4.5 years ago, recognizing that the citizen experience and how they connect with resources that we have, it was probably one of the best places for us to be focusing. We had an entity within the county Department of Environmental Services that had a group that they were receiving a lot of calls that was taking up time for their staff. And how could we help surface answers and respond to the public in a more efficient way? So when you think about AI today, this was absolutely not the AI today, but what it did was allowed us to work with the department, understand what are the types of questions that they have, build a solution that gave us the opportunity to kind of cut our teeth on what we know today as of AI. The look and the feel and the technology behind is nowhere near what we have access to, but it gave our team the opportunity to start thinking about, well, what type of questions do people have? How should I be considering this? How do I connect the opportunity to engage with the public with all the data and the information we have behind? And so that thoughtfulness was our foray into it. Also our understanding of how we engage, once again, our customers. What types of things do we need to be asking them to get them to think about so that we can understand where we're going?
That's great. It's great that you really started your AI journey long before what we really think of AI journey as like 18 months ago, right? How did it set you up for like partnership and staffing and getting a team together for this new advancement, this new generation of AI that was about to come, which we probably didn't even foresee,
right,
but it happened, right? So when ChatGPT and Copilots came onto the scene, how did you benefit from it?
So once again, the work that we had positioned us to start to think about, right, what skills does our staff need? What skills do they have? Where are their interests? How do we engage and capture this information? You talked about use cases, and everybody talks about use cases, but really making sure that we're understanding and engaging our customers of what are they looking for? So what we did was, in addition to our skills that we've entertained, it's making sure that we are consistently going out and bringing people to us, and also sharing what we're hearing from others. So we went through an exercise after we went through AVA of like, hey, this is what we've done. This is an example. What kind of ideas do you have about this? So you bring them something that's concrete, and then they start to think of ideas. and then you build upon that. So we're talking with our environmental services, and then you start talking with public safety, and you start talking with libraries, and they all build on one another, and we're creating this collection of use cases. And as we continue to share the use cases, more ideas are generated. So I think from the staff side of knowing how to engage in what types of questions, we've educated ourselves also of, hey, here is the potential of what AI could bring. What that brings us into is how we've developed our strategy. So starting with that use case foundation and sharing that, you start to see themes, and you talked about some of these themes that were arising. There's lots of great ideas out there, but what are the most common themes, and what can we build upon from the technology that we've already invested on and be able to scale it? So for what arose from us, you talked about two of them, was the customer experience. How do we make the customer experience better? And then how do we improve our internal office efficiency? All right, we can do lots of things, but how do we make sure that we're using our employees to work on what's most beneficial? So if I can use a chatbot, if I could use an AI tool that could allow you to focus on something more than answering questions, that's a good use of our resources.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So one question that I'm sure a lot of the folks in the audience will have, because as I mentioned during my presentation as well, state and local government, whenever I interact with them, they're always talking about one thing, that we are strapped for budget, right?
Right.
So how have you dealt with this? It has probably become a little bit easier, I would think, in today's age, because now AI is at the forefront, and all the governments are really starting to create budget for it. But you started this journey 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So how have you dealt with budget? How have you been able to get some budget from the county budget for initiatives like this?
I think it's proving, showing actual, this is what we could do. So Ava, hey, look, if you give us the funding, we can make something happen that's going to make a difference. So that gives them the confidence that, yes, there is something into this AI. And so as we're incrementally moving forward on our AI strategy, it's taking these small iterative approaches and being able to demonstrate this works. This is what's meaningful, and this is what's meaningful to a specific entity or a specific agency. So for instance, the current AI products that we've put out there right now, we've built based on what we heard from people. Being able to search board meeting minutes, being able to search county code, being able to search our procurement contracts, being able to find information that wasn't necessarily as easily available before is a starting place. But that gives people the confidence that, yes, there is something that we are going to get out of this. The other piece, and this is still a challenge, right? And it's related to the understanding, the comfort that technology used to be thought of as a capital expense, right? It's a one-time, I can control it. And this is something that does not apply to AI. It applies across the board. But that kind of awareness that we need to be looking at this more in an operating expense is a conversation that we still continue to have and work through with our budget department. So it's having a close relationship to bring in hey, here's the value that you're hearing, not just from us, but from our customers. If you invest more in the products that we're looking at moving forward, we will get more benefit, and having our customers talk about those stories, not us.
That's fantastic. Now, one thing that I'm really interested to learn about is governance around this, right? A lot of jurisdictions, counties, cities, they have started really thinking about AI governance in past 18 months. Did you start that journey before this new ChatGPT revolution came? And how has that changed or evolved with ChatGPT and Copilot world that we live in today?
So let me be honest. Yes, we did start thinking about it, but we definitely hit hyperdrive when we had the ChatGPT. Going back, I already talked about the use cases. That was something that is coming from the strategy role that I have, is making sure that we are not doing things just because we think it's the cool, interesting thing, but making sure that people understand this is why this is meaningful to you. And so focusing on what is important that's consistent across our county. The other thing I would say is related to governance and the policy, we dove in very quickly. We know we need to have a policy. What does that policy look like, and what's meaningful and useful for people? So when we developed our AI policy, what we did was we created something. We worked very closely with not only our security team, but also our department partners. Do they understand what this means? What's their insight? Where are some of their gaps? And how do we make sure that we're protecting ourselves? So we now have not only an acceptable use policy that we're about ready to publish, but we're putting in a tool to make sure that, hey, if you have AI kind of ideas and making sure that we're incorporating a workflow so that we can be aware of those things. And then also touching base with not only on the security side, not only our partners, but hey, on the procurement side, how does this fit into new purchases? What do we need to see? What do we need to know? And how do we help move quickly? Right? Because a lot of this stuff is moving very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a key aspect of this is that what I have seen with other customers is that if you really keep human in the loop and that aspect, then your AI program is really going to be grounded, and you're going to get a lot more adoption because people are not going to be as afraid as they are that, oh, AI is here, it's going to take my job away. That sort of thing.
Well, and also, what does it mean? So, in addition to the policy, another part of our campaign is the education piece of how does it work? We are working on a pilot right now with Microsoft on Copilot, and making sure people understand, what does this mean? How do I interact with it? And you said earlier, there is a human component to it, right? We talk about prompt engineering, but what does that really mean? And what's interesting is we've been going through our Copilot. We're not always great about how we talk. When you're in a meeting, you talk in generalities. You don't necessarily say everything. But so AI is only able to pick up, what you've said. And as we're trying to work better, how you talk in a meeting, how you introduce things is really, really important. How you ask questions to AI.
Absolutely.
If you ask bad questions, you're not going to get great answers. But if you could be thoughtful about how you're asking questions, you can get better answers.
Whenever I'm asking questions to Copilot, and I don't know if you experienced this, Holly, as well, I always begin with please.
It's funny. I have heard that, and so I have started doing the same. It's like it's a human thing. We should be kind to one another. We should be kind to our technology as well.
And what I have seen is whenever I say, "Please, Copilot, can you do this for me?" It does better.
Yeah.
So Holly, I think audience will be also interested in knowing what are some of the current pilots that you have run successfully, and how they have enabled citizen services, made it better. Are you getting some of the numbers back? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I said, so what we've rolled out right now is just a tip of the iceberg of what's available and what we've developed. So the tip of the iceberg is thinking, hey, the board meeting minutes, being able to search county code. Hey, I want to build a swimming pool. What do I need to know? What can I do? What can I do? That is available, that is out there now. Being able to search historical information related to house cards and property. Hey, I've got an interest. I actually happen to live in Alexandria, Virginia, which theoretically, I guess, I've heard was part of Arlington. I'm interested in finding that out. Is there information? So that we're seeing a number of increases in traffic related to that. What all of the it's not all a chatbot experience, but creating that foundational framework and creating the connection, thinking about how do we connect our AI tools with our cloud data has been foundational for us. So being able to do that, what that's allowing us to do is be able to think about, all right, what's our AVA 2.0, which is what we are calling it. So right now, we said it's a very simple AVA we talked about earlier. How do we incorporate the ability to search the entire county website and be able to have that chatbot experience across all of the county website? In addition, how do we use the document search that I talked about to be able to search and find all documents across the county? So taking that information and being able to expand what we've already done. You asked about how do I know that it's been successful? I think part of the reason that we know it's been successful is the interest and the number of use cases and people coming to us right now has grown tremendously. And so being able to take what we've done and be able to focus on, all right, this is what we've already built on. How do we expand on that? The customers that we're hearing this from has been tremendous.
That's amazing, right? Proof is always in the pudding.
Right.
When you hear something like this from customers, that really makes all worth it. So what's coming up, Holly? I mean, are there any future use cases, really out of the blue sky ideas that you guys are thinking of that, hey, now that we know that this is here and this is something real and something that can be adopted for helping citizens build better citizen services, let's take this revolutionary idea and see if we can do it successfully.
We have a number of products that we have developed internally, and we're working to try to figure out the pathway, whether it's financial or kind of the full adoption to be able to promote publicly. So once again, building upon our success with AVA, the AVA 2.0 is one of, and more of the conversational side of that, using the existing AI tool, or new AI tools, not the existing AI tools, has been one of the primary things that we're focusing on. But then also thinking about, hey, what's generated from the use cases that we've heard? What do people want? So one of the ones that we're looking at right now, expanding upon the document search, focusing on internal, we have collective bargaining within Arlington County. There are people who respond to those questions around collective bargaining. We don't need to have people involved, right? We can take those documents and be able to search those documents and provide actual accurate answers. So kind of on the HR admin side. One of the other things kind of more on still on the internal side, but publicly benefiting, is we have people who are coming in from, they drive a fire truck and they come in at night and they've got a check engine light. Well, right now, what they do is they call somebody and they say, okay, what do I do? What are the procedures of what I'm supposed to do? They don't need to talk to somebody. That information is documented. How do we make it easily accessible for them? So that being able to find that information from the public safety side. Also exploring, you talked about human services, right? We've got a lot of documented information related to human services. How do I put the information at the fingertips of the client service managers so they can make sure that the most efficient way of getting information to best serve their clients is they're available to them?
Fantastic.
There are a number of others, but this is where focusing on how are we thinking about the customer experience and how are we thinking about our operational efficiency is where we're focusing right now.
Great, that's fantastic. It's great to hear all these advances that Arlington County under your leadership has made and continues to make. Any last minute thoughts? Anything that I didn't ask you? Anything that you want to share with the audience?
I think the thing that sticks with me is, this is, once again, not related to AI, but it's very relevant right now, is the human side of it, right? You've got this great technology. We've got brilliant people who work at Arlington County who have a lot of, priorities that are not technology related. How can I make sure that we are connecting what that technology can bring to them in a way that resonates and makes sense quickly and efficiently? And it's that storytelling. And this is where I love we've adopted the use case storytelling, I think, very, very significantly within the county, and making sure that we're driving not, hey, this is the new wild thing that's out there, but we're doing this because you need that, and making sure that is relevant and that story is told helps give us the credibility of getting the investment and being able to then benefit both internal and external customers. That's fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, Holly, for your time and allowing me the opportunity to engage in a lively chat with you. Really appreciate your time once again. Pete, if you want to open up for
what I would ask, if people have questions, come find you so then we can stay on course here. But I want to thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you so much, and thank you, Holly. Let's give it up for Sachin and Holly.